Hey everybody, welcome to On the Paint Table. It's my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So this week I painted a whole bunch of stuff for Perilous Tales, which is Mike Hutchinson's pulp adventure, sort of like in alpha and beta testing, he's come up with solo play cooperative adventure game, where you basically, you fight like an adventure movie, a monster movie. You could be fighting wolves in Antarctica or elder things somewhere in like ancient ruins, or a ghost in a haunted mansion, or whatever. I took the idea and kind of ran with it and went with the whole X-Files theme. So you're gonna see a bunch of that because I got excited and like made like a bunch of monster crews almost immediately. I painted up some stuff for Classic Space Hulk because it is one of the greatest solo play games of all time, and for Throwback Thursday I thought it'd be fun to work on. And then realized like I thought I'd painted one of everything for all the campaigns in Deathwing, but clearly I hadn't. I like skipped ahead and painted a bunch of stuff for Gene Stealer, because I'm an idiot and didn't come back and like pick up the things I needed to paint. So I had to paint like a chain fist guy, some close combat marines, and like a librarian. But I did that this week too. And then yeah, I put some stuff together for Blackstone Fortress. That's gonna be my project for next week, to start filming some Escalation stuff. So the cultists and the heroes from Blackstone Fortress expansion I'm gonna start painting. And actually the cultists I want to do double duty Necromunda with for a Chaos Cult gang. So I'm gonna do them on deck plating bases instead of my standard bases for Blackstone. But anyway, let's take a look at what got done and what is coming up. So first things first, here's what I painted up for Perilous Tales. Act 2, I painted up basically like an encounter in the woods, some evil ancient standing stone that had possessed a bunch of high school kids who were camping out there, and you know, Agents Anderson and Duchovny get called in. So this was my my hero and teammate. We have Agent Anderson with her flashlight and silenced SMG for some reason, and then Cop Vest or whatever. This is a Hasslefree mini based up on, I think, an old Dragonforge base. I can't remember if it's Dragonforge or something else. Along with a bunch of old Copplestone, sort of like SWAT team dudes, like special ops guys with shotguns, SMGs, and then this one I thought was perfect for like a Mulder, rocking like a sweet 80s mustache and losing his gun every 5 minutes, and like a Steyr Og for some reason, because, you know, why not? And then this is supposed to be a Batu miniature, also from Hasslefree, from Ghost in the Shell, but I painted up like the local sheriff, basically, who's led them into the woods. He reminded me of Clancy Brown from Highlander. Have you ever seen the Highlander, the Kurgan? And also, you know, Sergeant Zim from Starship Troopers, and a million other fantastic films that Clancy Brown's been in. He was the preacher in Carnival. But those are my good guys, teammates, and just like some options for teammates too. And then over here, I had a bunch of these zombie miniatures that Tim Lyson found me. I can't remember where they're from for the life of me, but I painted them up with some contrast paints, kind of like the ghosts from The Pulse. You ever saw The Pulse movie? It's that weird one where like technology eventually breaks down the barrier between the dead and the living, and they break in. And then this old Hordes Waldgeist from Privateer Press made a perfect like primeval Wendigo kind of style spirit that had like killed them all and possessed them and brought them back. But I went for like the black blood bleeding from the eyes, kind of The Ring meets what was that video game? Shoot, I don't remember the name of the video game now. The video game with the ghosts. You're basically a first-person shooter where you're fighting like clone troopers, and there's like a ghost child, and it's completely off my brain at this point, but yeah. And it was just like a fun, like the best thing about this is because it's episodic, you pick a different villain every time. You can just add a couple new heroes as you go. Your teammates can change. You can play cooperatively. You can play with your, you know, the AI is your opponent, and just play by yourself. But the nature of it means that you just do a little painting project, create a villain. I've got another villain kind of in the hopper I'm going to work on for the next episode. So check out the rules if you haven't. The Let's Play went up this past week, and there'll be a link in there for the rules from Planet Smasher Games, Mike Hutchinson, who made Gaslands. Then I went way back to 1990 and started painting some Terminators, because these are the Terminators I guess I just forgotten to paint when I got ready to film the Deathwing expansion and just didn't do. So I didn't have a Chain Fist Marine, although I have one painted now. I had the Plastic Librarian from Gene Stealer because I just got excited and started painting him, but I wanted to paint my old Metal Command Squad ones. I painted them up too, all in the same Ultramarines colors as my my first edition Space Hulk collection, and then the 2 Assault Marines, because you actually don't get Assault Marine squad or Assault Terminator squad in Rogue Trader and in Space Hulk. It doesn't mean what you think it means. It's not all guys with assault weapons. It's basically just 2 Marines get issued Lightning Claws and Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, and everybody else is just as normal. So you have like a Sergeant, 2 guys with Power Fists and Storm Bolters, and this. Because Assault Marines in Space Hulk look cool, but are just terrible. Because they can't Overwatch, and you never want to be in melee. Even if you're good in melee, you're not really as good as a Gene Stealer. So the Lightning Claw guy is probably the best of them all. This Thunderhammer guy's okay. They both get a +2 close assault factor, which means they had +2 to the dice roll, but he only rolls 1 dice and can parry. The Lightning Claws can roll 2 dice and can't parry, so they're all right. They're not as good as Gene Stealers are, though. And then the Librarian, basically, when he's fighting from the front, just has like unlimited might points, depending on his mastery level, that he can spend to make his 4-star just win fights. So he's always +1 in a fight against Gene Stealer, but he can just buy additional points after he rolls the die to make sure that he wins the fight. But of course, that's a finite resource, and eventually you're out of it. In the full expansion for Gene Stealer, he's got Psychic Mastery and Discipline levels, and his side points get spent on all kinds of things. So that'll be coming in the future, but right now we're just working our way through Deathwing, and that means he's basically just an extra good fighter. Here's some stuff coming up. I've been digging in boxes, so like when I started doing the Perilous Tales thing, I just kind of cooked up a theme based on the miniatures I found that I liked. I do have some more Copplestone minis to paint, some Cops with pistols, another shotgun, another SMG that I'll probably get to, because again, these are great figures for you. I might just do them in different colors and do them as like spec op troops for some kind of an OP4 or like an evil government organization. They might even be a bad guy. And then I've got my Bruce Campbell of Darkness mini to paint. This was I think this one's Reaper, actually. I don't think it's Hasslefree. It might be Hasslefree. Doesn't look like a Hasslefree face, though. Doesn't look like a Cowboy face. I think it's a Reaper mini. And then some more Hasslefree. This one's a Reaper mini, too. This is a Reaper Ellis from oh shoot, what's it called? Left 4 Dead, which I love. Ellis is my favorite character in Left 4 Dead. 2? Yeah, he's in 2. Actually, I shouldn't say that. My favorite character in Left 4 Dead 2 is the lead singer of the Headstones, because of course it is. It was also on Flashpoint. And then another alternate Agent Anderson mini, this time with a shotgun, which I thought would be fun to have. And a Chainsaw Lady, who's also a zombie mini from Hasslefree. I'll paint up. There's a piece of like glue string there with primer on it. And then my next bad guy, because of course, you know, I for some reason had a Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer miniature from Hasslefree that I found in a boss. So I'm going to do a Vampire Lord. And then I found these great Doppelganger minis from the Nolzur's magical whatever D&D figures that would make great thralls. And then I repurposed my Bat Swarms from, whatchamacallit, from Kings of War Vanguard and based them on 2 different bases to be my bats. So I'm going to paint that up as another encounter and do some more Perilous Tales when Mike tweaks his next incarnation of the rules. Odds and ends my carrying case for Space Hulk. I do have another Power Sword Sergeant I'm going to paint up, and then 2 more Chain Fist Marines. There's no hurry on these, because unless I start using the force building rules, I don't really need them, but I did want to get them painted just to have it be done, you know, for the sake of completeness, basically. And then over here, I've got a Plastic Sked Squad, a Tyranid Attack Sked Squad. That again, there's like no reason for me to have, because they don't exist in the force building rules for Deathwing. They might be in Gene Stealer. I don't think they are, but they might be. But they do exist in Tyranid Attack, and of course, as I work my way through games and boxes, having them painted will be handy, and they'll be painted the same colors as my Ultramarines, because you can mix and match all the stuff from those 2 games. So there's some Rogue Trader stuff I'm working on, and then it's on to some contemporary projects. First of which, of course, is a Blackstone Fortress Escalation. So my 4 heroes here, I've got Sir Godfert, the Night Guy, Crusader, Tech Marine, Rogue Trader, and Psyker, and then my squad of cults here with the Cult Firebrand. Now he's actually just an additional model. This is another Rogue Psyker that I want to paint for the Necromunda gang, so I just put him with them, because for the Necromunda gang, obviously I want everything to be on the same bases and stuff. And then XO1, which is the he's a sidekick basically. And there are a bunch of sidekicks I could paint up from the annual that I should do. There's like some Ogrins. There's a bunch of dudes that need to get made eventually. But I'm going to start with the box set, and as the campaign goes, probably keep adding to it. And of course, I just had these in the same case. I still need to get to doing my power armor for my characters, my PCs for Fallout, and then another sidekick from when we kick off the rest of our settlement campaign. So you got another 15 models painted this week, and a whole bunch of different games filmed. I filmed some solo Age of Sigmar this week, some first edition Space Hulk, and some Perilous Tales, which is tons of fun. Next week I'm going to do some more Perilous Tales, probably some more Space Hulk, and start working on Blackstone Fortress. So lots to keep me busy in this time of social distancing, I guess, and self-isolation and all the stuff that's going on in the world. So I hope everybody out there is safe and healthy. We'll see you next week for more. I think we're going to be Elder Scrolls on Monday. Until then, I'm Ash. Happy gaming. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below to get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Deathwing Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.